code. Enter text for chat. Hey guys, yeah, I'll be at Stonewall later today, but in my effort to get back to covering the diversity of stuff within New York, I wanted to be down here at State and Pearl, inside the park, where Reverend Billy, Resist Extinction, other groups are down here where they have already one where it's passed, and it's either the board or the city council regarding the use of pesticides in city parks, and that's always been a massive fight. I know, at least going back to 2011, 2012, groups that were fighting for this, but they're holding an event down here, and yeah, because it's Reverend Billy specifically, I wanted to make sure to be down here. I probably would have possibly just posted on it, but yeah, you have people that have been fighting for a long time, and it is an important issue, especially with summer coming up. The idea of where you see all those little signs on the grass that say please stay off. A lot of the pesticides that are used are massive health issues, everything from cancer to a bunch of other things. But yeah, I wanted to make sure to be down here for this. It looks like they're just warming up right now. If anyone knows a lot more about this specific issue, then I do feel free to go ahead and post it up in this chat. It looks like the choir is actually gearing up, getting themselves together, practicing. See Reverend Billy over there, a massive other in terms of signs. So I just want to take a look real quick. As you can see, 1 year of days in golf courses. Golf courses are a whole other issue, not just here, but I know specifically in Las Vegas and other golf courses. But like it says here, it's excluding golf courses in natural areas. Knowledge Leadership Community, the Black Institute, one of the groups definitely that have been doing resistant eviction, Be Alive, which actually I'm surprised I haven't heard of, but I've been wrapped up with a lot of stuff recently, so it sort of makes sense that I've neglected a lot of things that I'm trying to make up for now. I like this banner. Poison-free parks. Remember, it's not just places like Central Park, but also a lot of your neighborhood parks. You'll see them out there spraying. And if you ever ask yourself what are the chemicals that they're actually spraying on the ground, it's definitely something to become aware of. And I was having a conversation with someone the other day at the March for George Floyd's, and one of the things we were talking about, each neighborhood has their own neighborhood president or representative. There's a lot of power in that in terms of pushing and getting stuff done. So you might want to find out who those individuals are in each one of the blocks, coming together and actually putting pressure to get that out. Because there are other natural alternatives, which I'm not thinking of from these groups, but from other people that are involved in other things concerning sustainable communities and a more natural way of living without poisoning our system, our children's generations. But yeah, this is going on until at least the event page on Facebook, which is the same title, will go on between now and 5 o'clock. It actually might go longer. But ideally, I'll be updating on a lot of stuff over the next week. And then individuals that are going to be pushing out other information, not just on this, just because I personally can't. Over the last 10 years, yeah, I've been spreading myself way too thin, which has impacted a lot of things. But ideally, other people will take the lead on sharing out information and promoting these issues that at least I've been involved in since 2011. So, as it should be. I'm just working on providing the platform for that to happen. Hey, Ralph. Yeah, well, Ralph, I know you know Billy and the choir, but Knowledge and Leadership Community, the Black Institute, which you're probably more aware of than I am. I'm more focused on individuals versus groups and institutions and stuff. A lot of times, not unless it has to do specifically with the banking institutions or along those lines. But yeah, I don't know a ton about that. But you know, it is a step forward as far as this goes. So I'm just gonna be down here. They're out, like I said, they're out here between 4 and 5, and we'll go from there. Other than that, anyone that's watching, if I added you to the initial group chat for New York City S17, I'll be uploading more information about the other 2 chats that are going on, which are specifically related to what other locations around the country are doing. Everything leading up to September. The chat that is the one that I set up, if I've already added you. If I added you, it means that you were around in 2011 during OWS. If I haven't added you, later on there'll be a way to plug in, but initially I'm trying to get people who were involved in specific working groups, etc. In 2011, going into the beginning of 2012. So it's not that I haven't forgotten about anyone, it's just that I'm trying to keep conversations tight without them going off into a million directions. The idea is to draw back refocus on what we were focused on, and then expand out again to everything else happening, since everyone is plugged into all the different issues out there. Enough of me chattering. Hey, Patrick. Patrick, I did put a specific chat together for that. I've got a spreadsheet that I am going to upload to the group for the locations that are doing their anniversaries this year. And I'm also going to include that in another chat that has specifically to do with the global GA. So I'll be adding that so people will have access to that then. It's just, yeah, I mean, some of the people in the chat may not know, but I'm pretty sure, I'm usually running around out of necessity, and I don't always have the energy to do things right away. So it's a lot. Okay, they're getting ready.
Hallelujah. Somebody give me a breath hallelujah here today. You know, one of the things that Bertha taught me really early on in this campaign is that there are scintillating advantages to really being out there in the land of good and evil. You know, Nietzsche and some of the fancy philosophers, they say, no, it's not that simple. It's not good and evil anymore. It's things are decentered. They're not binary anymore. And then now in this day and age, we say, well, no, it's not like that. It's more like 14 conspiracy theories circling a pearl or something. You hear what I'm saying? Anybody know what I'm talking about here? Do I know what I'm talking about? That's the question. We discovered that Bayer Monsanto's Roundup with glyphosates and surfactants is simply evil. It is the devil. You're not going to nuance that into it. You're not going to explain that into it. You're not going to say on a certain kind of day it's not as evil as other days. It's just what person would call nasty. And I'd like to turn it over now to the Stop Shopping Choir. They sang this song in the glyphosate factory in Cancer Alley, north of New Orleans. Here we go. Monsanto is the devil, pretends he's a scientist. The best we need was predator evolution.
You know, to cast out a devil, you got to name the devil.
That's right. You got to name the devil.
All of you that take Bayer aspirins, throw them away.
That's right.
They're poison. Because if Monsanto is the devil, Bayer is his handmaiden. And we must cast them out. So my name is Bertha Lewis, and I am, thank you very much, bless your children. I am the president and founder of the Black Institute. And just like the name says, we are concerned about black people and people of color here in the U.S. and throughout the diaspora. And we're especially concerned about how it affects the environment. Now, you might think that Reverend Billy is just a preacher.
Oh, more than that.
Whatever just a preacher means. But a few years ago, in fact, too many years ago, Reverend Billy laid hands on me and said, Bertha May, there's poison in our parks.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know. And so here's what we did. We put the data together. We issued a report. You can find this report on our website, theblackinstitute.org. And what you will find and what we have found was sure enough. Low, moderate income communities, black and brown communities, the parks that are near us get sprayed with this poison, Roundup, glyphosate. Here's the molecule for all of you folks who are science majors. We broke down this molecule. But we're trying to break it down in real life. And so, once again, people of color are disproportionately affected, and we're just sick and tired of it.
That's right.
And so for years we worked, and we worked, and we fought, and we fought, and we came and put together a coalition of folks. Let me just acknowledge, you're going to hear from some of them later on. Paula Bergoven, where's Paula? Yes, she is. Hello, Paula. Patty and Doug Wood. All right. You know, if you want to talk about somebody who got more facts to the point where he can just overload you. From Beyond Pesticides, that's Mr. J. Feldman. So many people worked very hard, and we finally passed Intro 1525 on Earth Day unanimously. Okay? Why are we here today? We wanted to tell everybody what was going on. Because our mayor, Dollar Bill, yeah, I said it.
The truth.
Dollar Bill de Blasio did not sign the bill into law. But that didn't stop us. Because guess what? The bill is law now on May 27th. Hallelujah. So, why are we here in this setting? Behind us is an urban farm. And that urban farm is run by the Battery Park Conservancy. So I want to have a few words said by the program coordinator, Adam Walker. Adam.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. We're really happy to host you here at the Battery. It's a historic park in New York, and we are the nonprofit, the Battery Conservancy, that partners with the city to manage this space. And we haven't used toxic pesticides as long as the Conservancy has been around. And in the last 3 years, we even got rid of our organic fertilizers on the lawns and on the farm, because we are hoping to just focus on a natural approach to land management here to support the urban ecology. And we've seen incredible results from this work. As you can see, all these folks enjoying the lawns here, and we get emails from parents who have their young toddlers and are so happy to have a space in the city where they can let them explore the grass and be outside without fear of what kind of pesticides they might encounter. We see about 275 species of birds over the course of our record keeping here that come through the park. Dozens of different pollinator species, all kinds of native bees, as well as a lot of honeybees. And I invite you after this celebration to take a wander through the Boss Gardens or past our urban farm here or through our labyrinth and perennial forest farm and just see the full extent of the pollination that is happening here and all of the different species that are making their homes here. So we really appreciate the effort that has gone into the push to make Intro 1524 happen, and we're excited to see what can happen in parks across the city that can take up this cause as well. So thank you so much.
We're going to come to your farm and get us some fruits and vegetables. Never invite us because we show up. So, to talk about the timetable and what Intro 1524, you know, we at the Black Institute call it the Poison Parks Bill. But, you know, it's the Save the Parks Bill, actually. So to explain what it is, what the timetable is, I'd like for you to welcome the founder and executive director of Grassroots Environmental Education. This is a nonprofit environmental organization. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Patty Ward.
Jay Feldman heard him say something about getting rid of synthetic pesticides in this, synthetic fertilizers in this park, which is something that we would like to add to our list as we go along with this process over the next 18 months. So it's been a really long time since the work started on this groundbreaking law. Early on, our youngest advocates were actually in a kindergarten classroom. And they wondered, as young children always do, why would anyone use poisons in parks where we play? Now, later on, groups got involved, groups that were involved in reducing toxins in our environment to protect people, our surrounding waters, sensitive ecosystems, and wildlife expressed their interest in the law as well. And then at hearing in early 2020, environmental justice advocates, medical doctors, animal rights activists, environmental health nonprofits, experts in non-toxic land management all weighed in to support this law. But eventually, there arose a coalition of four: the Black Institute, Beyond Pesticides, Grassroots, and the kindergarten teacher Paula Rogovin, who began to work closely with bill sponsor Ben Kalos' office and Wilfredo Lopez to make this a reality. And as Bertha said, it was passed unanimously on Earth Day, April 22nd. Here is what the law says. Parks or other property under the jurisdiction of the Department of Parks and Recreation means public parks, beaches, waters and land underwater, pools, boardwalks, marinas, playgrounds, and recreation centers. Okay, effective 12 months. That's 12 months. That's a year from now, approximately, after enactment of this local law. No city agency or contractor shall apply to any property owned or leased by the city any pesticide classified as a human carcinogen, a likely human carcinogen, a known likely carcinogen, a probable human carcinogen, or a possible human carcinogen by the Office of Pesticide Programs of the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Also, effective 18 months after enactment of this local law that was added to this section with this bill, no city agency or contractor shall apply to any property owned or leased by the city any pesticide classified by the California Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment as a developmental toxin. This is new. We were only dealing with carcinogens in the previous, not the previous law, but Local Law 37, which this is an amendment to. So now we're using that. And then also effective 18 months after the enactment of the local law that added the subdivision, no city agency, contractor, or any person acting under the direction of such city agency or contractor shall apply to any playground or park or other property under the jurisdiction of the Department of Recreation, Parks and Recreation, any pesticide other than a biological pesticide. That's the big one. Since we have a very, very long program here, I just want to say that after decades of work on pesticide issues myself, I am personally thrilled with the outcome of this long process. And I want to express thanks to all my colleagues within this small coalition and to Wilfredo Lopez and our courageous and forward-thinking City Council member and bill sponsor, Ben Kalos. But our work is not done. And as you will hear from Jay Feldman shortly from Beyond Pesticides, we will be working to train Parks Department's employees, and we will conduct pilot programs that we will engage in over the next 18 months to assure the successful transition of our parks. Thank you.
She broke it down. She broke it down. She broke it down. So, our next speaker is the co-founder of Beyond the Pesticides. And that's where we're headed. We're trying to get beyond that. And he served as its director since 1981. Beyond Pesticides is a health organic land management proposal for demonstration pilots in each of our 5 boroughs. So before we get to the pledge, ladies and gentlemen, Jay Feldman from Beyond Pesticides.
Well, you know, we're in the middle of our conference, and Bertha spoke. Thank you, Ms. Lewis. And in the chat, you know, we're all virtual now, of course. In the chat, I saw people saying, I wish we had a Bertha in our community. Because that's what it takes, really, to move policy like this. And you heard the technical side of the policy, which is really important, because we're now in the phase, right? We got a law, and you know what happens with many laws, right? They go away. People ignore them. So our job as a community is to watch the Parks Department, to work with the Parks Department, to make sure that they uphold the principles and values that are embedded in this law, which is what this park is doing, providing an open space for people to enjoy without poisoning themselves, their kids, their pets. I've seen all of that here today. I wanted to just share that this is something, especially on Rachel Carson's birthday, which is today, right? That we, I think, are in a process now, a reckoning process in society where we're recognizing we need systemic change, right? In our social structure, our racial equity issues, but it's also our environment and how we understand the environment. And Rachel Carson wrote about this in Silent Spring when she said that we're living with complex biological communities. They're in the soil, they're in the landscape, they're in the air. Complex biological communities. What did the chemical companies do to us? They said, forget about all that complexity. We're going to just break it down. And if there's a bug, we're going to apply this chemical that kills the bug. Well, what if it kills the bees? You know, what if it kills the birds? Well, we can accept that loss because we're killing the target pets. And that's the way the law has evolved, in a way that ignores all the soil microbiota, just like it ignores our gut biome. You know, we heard about cancer earlier in the law basically targeting cancer. Well, that's one of a constellation of illnesses, as we know, right? So this law is trying to step back from that, look at the system that we use, which is non-existent, to manage a park like this, recognize what's being done here and in other parks in New York City, and apply that across the board. So, number one, the science is on our side. The systemic change is on our side. People recognize that we need to live with the environment and not fight the environment. You know, I've been working for many, many years on the farm worker issue, and I got to organic because I saw farm workers being poisoned in fields. and the solution was, how do we get the poisons out of those fields? And it became clear that organic systems could do that and meet our productivity goals and our quality of life goals, etc. We're doing the same thing with the parks. We're saying we don't want to poison the people that work in the parks. We don't want to poison the people that use the parks. We don't want to poison the environment that relies on this park for regeneration, for life, okay? So, we're in deep discussions with the Parks Department. I must say they are not the friendliest folks in the world. But we're going to make them our friends, because what we're going to say to them is we want to work with you. This is our city. These are our families. This is our environment. And you are our public servant. And we want to work with you. So, as Patty said, what we'd like to do is set up pilot sites in every borough, 1 or 2, and work side by side with the parks folks and conservancies where they have not already transitioned to organic, and show them and explain to them how you manage soil microbiota, how you protect the biological community, the beneficial fungi, the beneficial bacteria. You know, it was very interesting to hear that they're taking out any inputs for fertility. If we work the soil correctly, recycle nutrients naturally, they break down the organic matter and provide the food to the plant, right? They solubilize the nutrients that are in the soil, that are in the organic matter. But you got to understand the soil, you got to work with the soil. And we will work with the Parks Department and train their staff, work with them on those practices. They're working all over the country, they're working here. So we're really pleased and thankful to City Council Member Ben Kalis for his leadership. Paulo was just showing me pictures going back to 14, meeting with Council Member Kalis and explaining to him what was going on. And he's both a teacher and a learner, so he heard the message very clearly. And so this takes a village. We are the village, right? There are a couple of us standing around here, you know, but we've got to involve the whole community and hold the Parks Department accountable. We can do it. We've got the power.
Now, I know y'all heard some of them terms he was talking, like some bio. That's Jay for you. Anything you want to know, he'll tell you all about it. He'll tell you about the environment, and he can tell you about your gut. So, you didn't know that, did you? Call on Dr. J. Now, there's some people here. We can't do this. The mayor didn't want to sign. Boo. None of our mayoral candidates are here. But that's all right. Because you know what? We're coming for you. Okay? We're coming for you. We see you. We can smell you. We know where you are. But some people do care. Some people understand what we are doing. And some people, in fact, have taken our pledge seriously. So Patty, could you come up and read the pledge, and then I'll call up folks who have acknowledged it.
Really loud. Really loud.
Really loud. Okay. This is a pledge by New York City public office holders and candidates to support safe and healthy parks. I join with other public office holders and candidates in supporting efforts to help create a safe, healthy, and sustainable environment in New York City by prohibiting the use of chemical pesticides in our city parks. I will use my leadership position to ensure that amended Local Law 37, known as Intro 1524, is fully and successfully implemented. I am committed to promoting education and training sessions in organic land management, as well as pilot programs that will be conducted in every borough in the city over the next 18 months in preparation for the full implementation of the law in 2022.
All right. the moment of truth. If somebody will tell the truth. We do have a representative here today of candidate Lindsey Boylan, and we do have a pen for you to sign on her behalf. You got you got 1 minute.
Well, we'll just be real quick. My name's Katie Baker. I'm here on behalf of Progressive Democrat Lindsey Boylan, who's running for Manhattan Borough President. She couldn't be here, but she wanted me to let you know we are proudly signing this pledge. She'll make sure, if elected, that it will be implemented. And again, just going to keep it short because we really want to be centering the voices of Bertha, the Black Institute, the Coalition, and all of you here today. Thank you.
Sign, 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 sign it, sign it, sign it, sign it, sign it, sign it. Woo! All right. Yes. No, I don't need your mother and your father. I just need you to sign. All right. The next person that we have, I think you've been hearing this name, and you know, you do have to have some champions. And we know that we have candidates here, but this person is in office right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you to say a few words. Our city councilman from Manhattan, Ben Kalos.
I don't get to do that often. Most of the lawns I see are missing white clover. And it's just one green piece. And I look for white clover. And I get down here with my daughter, and I love to look for that 4-leaf clover. I still haven't found one. Maybe I will one day. I know, thank you. But this is beautiful to me. And I love coming down here to Battery Park because I can say to the Parks Department, they can do it here. They can do it everywhere. And you can absolutely, and you can roll and you can play in this grass without having to go home and pray that you can get the pesticide off you, and pray that in the time that you are here, maybe having a picnic, that you didn't take those pesticides and put them in your mouth or put them in your 3-year-old daughter's mouth, God forbid. And I will say, I've gotten quite the education. I learned about this in kindergarten, not my kindergarten, in Paul Rogovin's kindergarten. I'm so grateful for that lesson that she taught me, that she taught her students. They deserve the credit. This is their legislation. Give them a round of applause. And let that be a lesson, though. If you haven't passed a law by middle school in my district, you might be an underachiever. But that being said, it's never too early or too late to make the change that you want to see out there in the world. And so these kids, they sang to me, and Paul is the one who taught me the song. It's ban toxic pesticides, use only nature's pesticides. Pass. Ban toxic pesticides, use only nature's pesticides. Ban toxic pesticides. And then we'll do the last line. And the last law is pass a law. And we did. And we could not have done this without everybody involved. We have Doug and Patty Wood. We have Jay Feldman from Beyond Pesticides, who is the real knowledge expert, along with Doug and Patty Wood. And I'm just here to wonder what in tarnation that is. A glyphosate molecule. And to Bertha Lewis, who helped educate all of us who thought that they were only spraying pesticides on lawns in wealthy white neighborhoods, and it turned out that that's not where they were doing it. They were doing it in low-income communities of color where they don't even have grass fields. And so just the inequity and all of that. And so without everyone here, and I came here for the Stop Shopping Choir, for their beautiful map, to hear their amazing song. I'll say when we started this journey, one of the questions was how badly we were going to get sued by Monsanto. And they haven't sued us yet, and they haven't sued us for singing Monsanto is the devil. I'll take that as free speech. I came here to hear a rendition of that. But in all seriousness, I came here with the pledge pre-signed. And one of the reasons I'm running for Manhattan Borough President is I like to say to folks, if you ever come to my first Friday, I do open office hours. No elected official other than Leslie Knope does this. And she's fictional. And so what we do is people come and talk, and I usually say to people, the worst thing I can do for you is a law. Because we already had local law 37, and they weren't even obeying that. And what you need is, and what I say is, if we obeyed every law there was, we'd either be living in utopia or somewhere else. There's some pretty bad laws out there. Yes, and so what my hope is that as borough president, I can work with all of you, open up my office as your office, and make sure that we enforce local law 37. So I want to thank everyone who's here today and ask for your help and your support. And I just see that we are joined by Sandra Coleman, who came from the Holmes Isaacs Coalition. So I want to thank her and make sure I said thank you to everyone that I was supposed to, and I think so. This couldn't have happened without all y'all, and of course our kids who led the fight, and you can read about them in the New York Times.
He's a roller. He might not be a rapper, but he's a roller. So our next person is Kim Watkins. Kimmy! Manhattan. All right.
There you go, Ben. Challenge accepted. Hey, everybody. I'm Kim Watkins, and I could not be happier to be here. I am a public school mom, and I gotta say, I'm really here more for my daughter and for my daughter's school district, and the kids of New York City, especially kids who live in uptown New York, in uptown Manhattan, where we live in Harlem, where there aren't conservancies. Something Mr. Feldman was talking about that really struck home to me is that one of the things that the Parks Department can't do is have people pulling weeds, people doing the work, and that's where volunteers in some of the wealthier neighborhoods are able to chip in and help out and make sure that we don't need the pesticides. Where I live, I'm not kidding you, I'm a park steward of the Parks Department, where we go and we pull the weeds, and the Parks Department asks us not to touch the dirt because they do not believe it's safe. So they want to put the pesticides in the dirt because they know that we shouldn't have our hands on it. And that is not acceptable in Manhattan. It's not acceptable anywhere in New York City. We have a $98 billion budget about to be passed. We have the money to make sure we can take care of the health of the people that live here and our tourists and our commuters. So I'm so appreciative to the City Council for passing the intro, but I also agree we can't stop there. We have to keep our eye on the ball because the laws can go away, the people change, and sometimes they don't even follow the law, right? So I am with you. I will sign the pledge, and I will turn the mic back over.
Sign the pledge. Sign the pledge. Sign the pledge. Sign the pledge. She signed it. She signed it. Oh, look, everyone. She signed it. She signed it. She signed it. Oh, look, everyone. She signed it. Thank you. Kim. Reverend. Reverend has somebody he wants to introduce. Moving along, let me introduce one of our community members. You know, again, why do we do this? We do this for the community. We do this to protect folks. And one of our warriors is a co-founder of the Stanley Isaac Housing up in Upper Manhattan, Sandra Coleman. Sister Coleman.
Greetings all, I'm Sandra Coleman. I'm one of the co-founders of the Homes Isaacs Coalition. I'm also an organizer with UES for BLM, which is Upper East Side for Black Lives Matter. So I am an advocate and a champion for justice. This is a social justice issue. It is a social justice issue. I'm 54 years old, and I grew up in the South Bronx, and I don't recall being bitten by so many bugs. I guess because they were spraying there. Okay, I was just at Carl Schutz Park the other night, which is on the Upper East Side, and everybody out there is getting bit. And that park is huge. But a couple of blocks from where I live at on 94th Street, on 95th, 96th, that park, you're not getting bit. So what does that tell you? They do not care about people of color. They're spraying in our communities, and now we're wondering why we're being sick, or some people have cancer later on in life. I have two granddaughters, and I'm grateful that this law has been passed, because at least I can feel comfortable that when they play in the park going forward, they're safe. But they have played in the park recently, and throughout the years, one is 3 and one is 10. So what does that tell you? So we have to continue this fight. We have to keep our eyes on the Parks Department. We have to continue to work together to make sure that mothers that are carrying children and little toddlers and people that just want to sit in the grass, right? And go on a date and just hang out and have fun, that they're safe. Because if these pesticides, as you all said, it's dangerous and detrimental to our health, then we have to stop it. We have to make sure it's eradicated from every park in this city. Every single park in New York City, this needs to be eradicated from, so we can live a healthy life. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Coleman. Now, Sister Coleman, they might have not been biting them other people because maybe them bugs like dog meat. Just saying. That could be something else. We're going to have a couple of more speakers, and then we're going to have back-to-back songs from the Stop Shopping Choir. The next person we're going to hear from is Jesse Balsam. Now, he was from Paula's class of 2014, PS 290. And he introduced the law, and he's now in the 7th grade. That's how long it took. Brother Jesse, come and tell him how you did it.
Hi, my name is Jesse Balsam, and I'm proud to say that I'm one of the people who helped ban toxic pesticides in our parks. I want to thank Paula Rogovan, my kindergarten teacher, who got me involved in this movement, raised our awareness, and taught us to fight for change. We started in our kindergarten classroom at PS 290 by learning about how toxic pesticides are harmful to us all, and we are shocked to learn that they were in our parks where we play all the time. With Paula's inspiration and guidance, we decided we just had to do something about this. We marched with a banner and chanted, "Ban toxic pesticides, use only nature's pesticides, pass our law." We kept chanting and put on a performance for our politicians back when I was only 5 years old. We were persistent and showed up at City Hall and continued to talk about why banning toxic pesticides is so important. We are the squeaky wheel, and on May 23rd, it all paid off when Intro 1524 officially became a law. is a major accomplishment, and I've been lucky enough to be part of. We hope all of our parks transition to organic land management like this one here in Battery Park. We hope this becomes a reality for our entire city and every park in it. We are calling on all elected officials and candidates for office to sign a pledge to fully implement Intro 1524 and transition New York City parks to organic land management.
Here's what some politicians and some folks that are in power don't understand. The youth, they will get you. They can run faster, jump higher, and they have more stamina. So watch out. Anytime you can introduce a law at 5 years old and get it passed by the time you're in the 7th grade, damn y'all. Politicians, be afraid. Be very afraid. Our last speaker is coming from the Sunrise Movement of New York City, Mr. Jonah Klingsberg.
So I'm not quite 5, but I guess I'm still youth. I'm in high school. Never too late. Thank you. So, you know, when we talk about climate change, as we do a lot at Sunrise, you know, there's a lot of pressures to just focus on carbon, and that has been how people have done climate change for so long, climate activism for so long. And that is one way that we could look at glyphosates and at this issue. They clearly do have an impact on carbon. They are produced through fossil fuels. They kill microbes. I was talking to Jay about this. They kill microbes, which reduces the amount that they can take carbon out of the air. But this is not just about that. Climate change is not just about carbon. When we tackle carbon emissions, when we tackle environmental justice, we are not just lowering emissions, we are not just lowering the temperature, it is also about public health, it's also about parks, it's about other issues. This is a public health issue where people were talking about cancer and how this is so important for that angle. You know, this is important. It's a youth justice issue because so many people who are in contact with parks are going to be youth. It's a justice issue it's a racial justice issue, an economic justice issue because of how these chemicals have been sprayed unequally. And when we solve this, we're not just going to be lowering carbon, we're not just going to be curbing climate change, we're also going to be making the world a better place than it was before.
Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the info. But now, once again, we're going to have two numbers from our resident environmental warriors, the Stop Shopping Choir and Reverend Billy!
Santo is the devil! There's no applause at all.
Yeah!
Thank you, everyone. I was just reflecting on what an amazing kind of perfect storm of activists we have here. Many different kinds of people gathering. And we found each other, invited in different combinations. Am I right, Patty? I mean, there's a really interesting cast of characters. If you were writing a play starring this Poison Parks bill, you would want to have each of these people. You'd want to have the youth. You'd want to have the tall, handsome, great dad who somersaults onto the stage. You know, all these characters are so... And why are we here? We want to stop the poisons, but I sense that we love life. This is all a miracle. We can't explain why that tree's growing. We can't explain. We are just we're on loan from humanity to this place. This is all just happening without us. And yet it sustains us. It gives us life. We came from it and then we come back at it like we're so smart. Nature is a miracle. It's amazing. And in our society we've almost eliminated all of the language, all of the praying, all of the rituals, all of what is necessary. We approach nature armed with data. You know what I mean? We're coming from an angle of policy, of lawsuits, of graphics, of money. You know, we have our way of approaching and not being afraid of nature. I'm sorry I badmouthed data, Jay. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings. But we have, sometimes something happens from nature that just makes us realize how amazing and full of its own intelligence it is. And I'm talking about bee alive. Now, honeybees, wild bees, there are 25,000 species of wild bees. We didn't want, for years we did not want to admit that insects actually have a language, that they actually talk with each other. Now we've discovered that they find out where they are by this super sophisticated GPS. I'm insulting them by calling it GPS. They have the sun, the hive, the moon, the curvature of the earth. They're deciding where to go, and they've got instructions from the scout bees, women who come back and tell you where the flowers are, and then they go out and they know where to go because of this. Well, Bayer Company makes something called neonicotinoids, and neonicotinoids, they attack the ability of the bees to return to their hive with the pollen. That's what this song is about. We're going to sing for you. You can never go home again. Here it is. Where's my hive? Where's my hive?
1,000 flowers touching me. They know I know the queen. They touch the hive through me. They see my tree in a tree.
Whoa.
Circle around,
Circle around.
circle around.
Where's my hive?
Circle around, circle around. Circle around, circle around.
Where's my hive?
I carry sticky gold just buzzing on a broken tree.
Oh, come on now.
I'm spiraling on shore.
And now I'm lost at sea.
Lost at sea.
Where's my hive? Oh, come on. You can't go home. Can't find our way home. Oh, yeah.
You can't go home again.
Oh, you can't.
Apocalypse fatigue, my honeybee and me.
Michael.
Where's my home I've gone? Where's my sweet, sweet
Tree.
1,000 flowers touch
Michael.
They know I know. They know the queen.
They see my tree in a tree.
Oh, come on down, yay! Circle around. We're looking for our hive. We're gonna find a hive. We're gonna find our way home. We're gonna find our way home. Circle around.
I carry sticky gold
play one more song for you. This is dedicated to the children. Amen. This is for the youth that will take over. Amen. You ready? Here we go. It's an earth riot. Here we go. Amen. Woo, woo, woo. This is it! Earth riot, climate riot! Here it comes! It's an earth riot! Watch out! Love the land, love the land. Some great man out of the tree. The law of the sea. Law of the sea. Law of the sea. Who breaks the law? Category 5. A Category 5 hurricane. Hurricane. Come on now. Out of the sea. Out of the sea. Alive. Like she's alive. Underground. Highest jet stream in the sun. Follow the young. This is it! Riot, climate riot. Hey, 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 hey! Here it comes! Here you come! Take your stand! Take your stand! Take your stand! Take your stand! Come on now! Take your stand. Mother to the man. Come on. Take your stand. Highest jet stream in the sun. Follow the young. Follow the young. This is it. Riot. Climate riot. It's a riot. Here we go. We're going to change things, right, people? Change hallelujah. Change hallelujah. Change hallelujah. Change hallelujah. Sign the pledge. Here we go. Amen. Thank you, everybody. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you so much to the Stop Shopping Chorus, Reverend Billy, and all the people who are running for office. We're going to count on you. Whether you win or you don't win, we're going to count on you to participate in the fight to have our parks pesticide-free with organic land management. So, thank you, everyone, and enjoy the park. Take time to enjoy the park. Thank you.
Okay, guys. I'm definitely going to be putting up more on this. Even though I've had side conversations over the last couple of years, I haven't been keeping track. I remember hearing about on Earth Day when it passed, but it was basically hearing about it, knowing it passed, and running around to something else. So I'm going to make sure to post up a link to it so that you can go ahead and take a look at it. Even though they went over it earlier part of the live stream, but that and what you can do, other ways you can start drawing attention to it, and maybe do outreach and education by partnering with some of the individuals here, some of the groups here, to educate people in your community on this as well as on some of the other issues that are out there. everyone knows a big believer in localized action, community-based action, not necessarily community-based, but neighborhood-based action, and making people more aware of the power they have within their own communities to have an impact. And as far as this issue goes, whether it's a neighborhood park, regardless of how small or how large, this is a good step to start getting the people in your neighborhood, your block, talking, working together, and taking action. This way they become more empowered. I know not massive amounts of people will see this, but I always want to make sure to add that on there, so those who do end up seeing it, it might spark and motivate them to go ahead and do that. Yeah, get to know your neighbors, get them more involved. It's a lot easier for issues to be addressed by neighborhoods if it's coming from people within their neighborhoods versus bringing a group from outside in. People within their own neighborhoods or what they're talking about, the issues and stuff going on, they're more accepted by their neighbors. So, yeah, just a thought from conversations over the last couple of days. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Solidarity Forever. I will be live for part of the Stonewall March that's taking place tonight. Kicks off at 5, so I'm assuming the march may be starting around 6:30. If it's along the same lines as it has been over the winter. But either way, I'll see you guys out in the streets. Solidarity Forever. Some of you I'll be reaching out to tonight, tomorrow. Some others later on that. But hey, keep up the fight. Occupy forever. Okay. Okay.